Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to the Four Direction. My name is Mary Apollo. So today we are back. Thursday is a special edition that we are going to cover. The topic, our topic discussion for today is the Department of Peace and how it affects everywhere. So it's one of the important topic out there, and it matters and touch each individual life. We'll be discussing about what is the peace of mind really mean, and what does it take to live in peace of mind. Uh, what are some of the best practices for people in conflict zone? Because our guests also have experience in working abroad and in working with people in conflict and war zone area, and help a lot of people to bring the best out of themselves and to heal internally. So I'm joined by Dr. Kurt Krager. He is the founder of Success System International and also the Institute of Sport of Physiology. He's a physiologist, and he has done a lot of amazing work. One of it, he created the World Peace Organization. So we are going to discuss that with him shortly. Please follow the discussion. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kurt, as I call you.
Yes. Kurt is much easier than Kruger because it is a German name, and some people get it a little bit difficult. And I think just about anywhere with languages, we can always obviously make a little error. Like for me, I can pronounce Spanish very well because I lived in a Latino community here in Los Angeles. And I usually pronounce Spanish as the Spanish do, even though in California, they say Los Angeles instead of Los Angeles. And so I love the sound of languages. Like my wife is from South Africa. You might be able to see this behind me and so on. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, she taught in Soweto, and we've always been focused on peace because there's only two things people want in life.
Yeah. I'm so fascinated about that because I'm also a language person. Yeah, I have the skills of learning languages and pick it very quickly.
Oh, you are so lucky. I'm not that way. Sadly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can pronounce things well, but I can't learn. At least
okay. Yeah, I think it's a new way of how we we use the mindset, our mindset, and pick up a new skills that we have. Because where I used to live, people don't consider it as a skill or as a job that you can make living out of.
You can make a very good living knowing languages. I have a friend who I lived with a period of time in India as well as here in America, and he could pick up a language like you very quickly and easily, and it made him be able to be a translator for Johns Hopkins Hospital, and he's been around the world like me, a few times, but it's magical.
Oh, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah,
actually. So first, let me start with what is the peace of mind for each human being in life?
It's interesting. Without peace of mind, everywhere could have peace, but you would be in hell. The peace of mind is knowing that right now, however it is what you get. But the world is as you see it. That was a great saying by a person who was the teacher of Rama. Rama in India is said to be God, an incarnation of God like Christ was. Well, Rama was trained in the jungle of India by this man who made him build his little old mud hut with the thatched roofs and so on, and made his bow and arrow and taught him how to do all the things that anybody in the kingdom would do, but also to be able to rule the kingdom. And before Rama went off to take over the kingdom, because he knew it was time and he was told, he asked his teacher, they call them, a spiritual teacher is called a guru with a big G. I'm a teacher with a small g. They say guru in India for teachers do. But he said the world is as you see it. So you could see the glass as half full or half empty, or you could actually know the truth. And most people don't understand what I just said about the glass.
Can you explain that more, please?
I'd rather not, because I'd rather have people think about that glass being either half full, half empty, or something else. That is the way that we get to learn how to come out of this trouble of peace. Now, I say trouble of peace because nobody ever focuses on it. When we focus on peace, we can achieve it. I'll give you one example. You probably know how violent it is in refugee camps. It's horrible. It's also, it's very, very sad. One woman went over to Thailand in a refugee camp and gave a program and trained them in a character development program called the Living Values Education Program. Within 2 years of its implementation, they had 90% reduction in violence. She then went down to South Africa, to Johannesburg. She designed a program for street people. You know how street people come and go. You know, you're from Nigeria, you're from there, and you're in, Johannesburg. People come and go. But she designed this program, and again, similar kinds of results. Because the two values that they teach first, all the other values come from them, are love and peace. Love comes first, then peace, then respect, then responsibility, then all the other values that every culture loves.
So when you talk about love, that is start with, is it something that individually, or it's there on the society?
The thing is, everybody loves their country, so to speak. I can't say everybody, but many people do. The love that I'm talking about is totally from the heart and cannot ever be violent. There's a difference between discipline and violence. I'll give you an example of that. When I was young, I used to get hit on my backside with a paddle or with a belt, and that was how I was disciplined to not do that thing. But I didn't like that, and who would? I knew why the person did it, my father or some other teacher or something. But I also knew that it didn't need to be done. And so the worst thing that I ever did with my children when they were starting to grow up is clip their cheek. Just go like that, right to the edge of the cheek, just barely touching it. But it's a little hurt, just a little one. And then my boy did something that I would do that again with, and I started to go toward him to be able to do that, and I saw this fear. And I thought, I don't want to emotionally abuse my son. I can do it a different way. So I did it a different way, and now he's such a great boy. And he doesn't have to carry that idea on to his children, because we learn from our parents how to discipline people. I always refer people to a YouTube presentation called Human. The simple word human, Human. There's 3 parts of it on YouTube. It's 90 minutes each. You look at the first 10 minutes of Human Part 1. And you will see a man who learned love from his father, and then from the most unexpected source of love for that man. It's almost like the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I can send you a short story about that. I can send you links to all these things if you'd like, and you can put it on the page or whatever, however you want to do it. Or people can write to me asking for these things that I talk about to successsystemsinternational.net, and I will send them these links or information about books that I mention or ideas that I have present to you. I am here to uplift humanity. So the Department of Peace has to be totally inclusive of everything. If we're not peaceful with the environment, we live in hell. We have pollution, and refugee camps have really pollution more. We have the situation where people fear life instead of thrive in life. People are out of work because of robotics or whatever. We get to look at all the things that affect life of humanity and the environment. When we look at the economics that either destroy the planet, like this thing called unbridled capitalism, if it's unbridled, then it rapes the planet. And pretty soon we have half of the oxygen that's produced by the Great Barrier Reef is not produced anymore because half of it is destroyed. And the rainforest is being destroyed because people eat so much meat. They don't need so much meat. They could have more produced in the rainforest, not destroying it, but doing it like the indigenous people, picking here, picking there, taking a tree here that's this way or that, but very wisely, like they used to in the old days in Europe and Asia and Africa, everywhere. They were wise stewards of the planet. For Christianity, God gave, man fruit-bearing seeds and seeds-bearing fruit as his meat and animals as his domain. We're supposed to take care of animals. We're supposed to take care of this domain. It's his creation. If God created this, why are we destroying it? It's insanity.
So is this have an important question here? How can everybody know that he's supposed to do that? They have the right to fall in this, to start with this self-love and then respect to whom he's surrounded by.
Well, the thing is that so many people haven't been taught that they are totally, like, I consider everybody God's child, no matter what religion. I'm very much an interfaith work and, quote, no faith work, because everybody, my teacher in India, his name was Swami Muktananda. He said, see God in each other and know that God dwells within you as you. And then when you do that, not if, but when you do that, you will be in heaven. Because all the religions basically say that God is omnipresent, all-powerful, and all-knowing. Omnipresent means everywhere. There's no place that God is not. So if God is all-present, why do we treat God with disrespect? There's a beggar there. Give him some paisa. Give him a few coins. Or bring him to lunch. I bring people to lunch or breakfast, whatever time it is. We get to be able to open our hearts so that other hearts can open. When one person smiles on the street, what happens? Other people start smiling. I have a friend in the UK, in England, that sometimes will start dancing down the street. And everybody will look, and then they'll just start smiling. But she's having a good time. Her body's flowing, and things change just because of how you are. So to bring peace, we have to have peace within ourselves, within our family, within our community. And of course, that spreads to the country and to countries. So when America gets the Department of Peace and it runs the way we have designed, because it has to include all these areas of life, then things change dramatically. Imagine movies that promote kindness instead of violence. Movies that promote character instead of people being the bad guy and they get rich. And we're always denigrating others.
Mm.
We make them, those are the bad guys. Like in some country, like here in America, our president calls people in Mexico, thieves and rapists and all that kind of thing. And they're not. Any country has great people, and most of the people in the countries are great.
Mm-hmm.
We in America have more people in prisons than any other country in the world. We have more COVID per capita than any country in the world. We're not taking care of our people, yet we're supposed to be so great. Our president talks like we're so great. If we're so great, why are people sleeping on the streets? If we're so great, why? If you follow your religion, why are people sleeping on the streets?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus gave to the poor. Jesus fed the poor. If you're a person who's a Christian, Muhammad, oh my goodness, Muhammad, praise be his name. My God, he was an example of this. Buddha was an example of this.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to be able to model ourselves either after nature, which God created, and that's called biomimicry. See how nature works. I'll give you another example with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say a friend, but a colleague. His name is Bruce Lipton, a great person. Look up Bruce Lipton on YouTube and see any of his videos.
Mm.
This man is a biologist, a cellular biologist from Stanford University, one of the best universities in the world. He describes when there's a human cell that's healthy and a cell next to it, a neighboring cell, is not healthy, that cell will help his neighbor. That also, quote, helps him because if there's a strong cell around him,
Mm-hmm.
if he ever gets sick, of course, his neighbor's going to take care of him too. But he doesn't think that way. The cell doesn't think that way. It automatically does that, except one cell. One cell in the human body is not like that. It's the one cell that everybody fears. Cancer. It only thinks of itself. It only does things for itself. We have 5 people in the world that are they're like trillionaires almost.
Mm-hmm.
5. They can't give their money away fast enough. It makes more money that they can't give it away. They could give it away. We could change our monetary system, but we think we have to have this kind of a system. When we change our thinking, like we did when everybody thought Newtonian physics was it, and how Darwin was right. Well, most people don't know Darwin said it's not the fittest are the ones that cooperate together, that collaborate together.
Mm-hmm.
When we collaborate and cooperate together, they are the ones that evolve beyond any other species.
Mm-hmm.
When they only think about themselves, like we're raping the planet, we get what we get.
Okay, so is it because you talk about the current leader and the way they're behaving, is it a way of how they grow up in childhood? Like they have less self-esteem and less love and protection from whom they've been surrounded?
I'm happy you gave that idea. Totally. Like I love Trump. Most people think, how can you love Trump? He does this and that and the other thing. I love him because he's God's child. And he's my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I love you because you're God's child and you're my sister. He had a horrible upbringing. I would not like to be that little rich boy. His father never, ever gave him love. He gave him money. Money is not love.
Mm-hmm.
He gave him everything he wanted. What did he get? A boy who had how many bankruptcies, who kept on cheating other people so often. If you look at his history, it's sick, it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have empathy for others, we can say, look at if I lived in that situation, I would probably be like that. If I had his ego, I would be like that. I thank God don't have that kind of ego. But again, in India, they call it karma. You come in with what God gives you.
Mhm.
When you are in this planet, what you do can affect the results of what you came in with. So I'll give you an example. My brother, I have an identical twin brother.
Mhm.
He's 1 minute younger
Yeah,
than
I
I.
read about.
He did not have a traumatic experience on September 27, 1977. They can read that in the Vedic astrology. You read our charts, he has no traumatic thing in his chart. He has no ecstatic thing in his chart from May 10th, 1992. Nothing like that.
Mhm.
I do. I was on a hijacked airplane in September 27, 1977. But because it was my karma, so to speak, I came in with this having to be in this experience, but how I experienced it was affected by what I did in my life this so far. I've been teaching in the ghettos of Los Angeles since 1966.
Mhm.
Excuse me, 1969. I've been teaching it since 1966, but in
So,
the ghettos since
okay.
1969. You have a question?
No, no, no. I just pay attention where you were high school teacher was 1978.
Well, no, I started in 1969 in
Okay.
secondary schools, and they would call them junior highs and then high schools. And I've taught at universities around the world, and keep on exploring life.
And how was that experience at that time when it related to psychology?
Uh, thank God I'd been meditating for 3 years, at least an hour a day. I got into the deepest state of meditation I'd ever been in because I had been doing that and serving others, not just in the schools, but also in the community. And when you live in a community, serve others, volunteer some time. If you have some time, volunteer. It helps yourself grow and learn and give. And when you give, you're always fed back. But if you hold on to something, your hand isn't open, you can't receive anything. You want to be able to receive. You want to receive more love.
Mhm.
You get to give. And when you give, you see these smiles, you see this change in a person.
Yeah, I think that's also related to some cultures because I don't know, a lot of the cultures have the mindset of you have to give on over to get paid for that, and or you go and practice a habit outside the street. For example, you go and dance, and people will just like start talking like this person have a problem. He's not mentally well. He's not so. How can people reveal themselves from this negative perspective?
Well, if you always look on the bright side of life, you're feeling so much better than if you look on the dark side.
Mhm.
It feels better. So if you want to feel better, look at things as a learning opportunity rather than it's a challenge, maybe. Like this COVID, like 4 out of the 6 people living in my house had COVID. Thank God they got through it. One has a little bit of residue from it so far, but we'll see, inshallah, as
Mhm.
God wills it. We'll see how it works. But we look on the bright side of life. We eat the best food that we can for us. We eat the right amount. If you overeat, and most people who overeat are overeating because they're not getting the nutrients they need. So their body's trying to say, feed me what I need. But they don't know because they buy these products that are made at the you get at a grocery store instead of fresh, whole, local food.
Okay.
It's like when I was young, I had well water. I had sweet well water. I lived in a suburb of Los Angeles called San Fernando, and we had well water. I never drank when I went over to Los Angeles, which was only like half a mile away from my house, was Los Angeles. My friends over there, I would not drink the water there. It tasted like pipes.
Mhm.
So why? We can change all of this and let life thrive. And it depends on what we focus on. We spend so much on military, on defense, and so we have to go to war. We have to give reason for, and then they sell them like in America, we had peace officers. Now they called police officers. There's a difference. A peace officer keeps the peace. Doesn't necessarily have to give you a ticket for something, doesn't necessarily have to put you in jail for something. They can say, look at, there are local community policemen, so they know everybody in their neighborhood because they're policing, they're the peace officer for the neighborhood, and they want to have peace. They make sure everybody's doing the nice thing without having to charge them, but being able to be a peace officer, bring peace to life. Mm-hmm. Like learning nonviolent communication. When you learn nonviolent communication, which you can look that up on YouTube or some other place, and you can find out anything about nonviolent communication. It was started by Marshall Rosenberg over 40 years ago. People are literally disarmed. I'll give you an example of that in my life. I'm teaching at a school. It's got gangs there and guns and knives. I had a knife swung at me, and I'm standing in the hall outside my government class. I'm teaching government. They have to graduate, you have to pass government. I failed this one boy, and I'm standing outside my class during passing period. And this boy walks up to me. He's about 5 feet away, and he pulls a gun on me. Mm-hmm. And I literally stood there calmly and clearly and said, give me the gun. But with the force. And people have seen Obi-Wan Kenobi do this, but Star Wars wasn't out when I did this. I just calmly did that. How did that happen? Because I had been meditating so much. I had already been on a hijacked airplane. I had all kinds of other things happen in my life, but the meditation is the thing that kept this mind calm.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, say right now I went to the grocery store or in the work environment. Uh-huh. There is another other person who is aggressive toward another human being. The person is screaming, treating them bad. How can this person react in a peaceful way that can make that person change his perspective on when it comes to how he should be treating to that person?
If people want to really learn this, mm-hmm. Look up, you can search it, nonviolent communication. If you want, I can send you a little bit of a blurb on how effective it is. The first thing is that if you feel the force within yourself and you feel calm, the important thing is feeling calm. Mm-hmm. Approach the person as, my goodness, I am so sorry you feel so angry, you're yelling and screaming. Can I help you? And just with that gentle, calm, loving voice can disarm somebody. Mm. And they're getting somebody to in a way, almost caress their energy field. You don't have to touch them because you don't want to touch a person who's angry. They could just go off on you. We get to be the source of peace. There was a book called What Would Jesus Do? Mm-hmm. It's a very, very sweet book. And it was a man walking the streets of Kansas or wherever he was living. And he started this practice of asking in a situation, what would Jesus do? So if you put yourself in your God's position, what would God do in this situation? Would he whack the person aside the head? Or would he use a soft, loving voice? Mm-hmm. And we can empower ourselves through experimentation of this. We can also research how we can be better. Like I gave you information about the Living Values Education Program.
Yeah.
They have books on activity books and so on. It's a holistic program, body, mind, spirit, emotions. Mm-hmm. So it includes all of them. And how to bring this forth in age groups from, let's say, 4 to 8, 8 to 14, 14 to young adolescents. And then, you should be pretty cool by the time you get done with that. There's a book called, and this is the best parenting book I've ever read. It's called Nurturing with Love and Wisdom, Disciplining with Peace and Respect. And the subtitle is Mindful Parenting. And it's by the same woman who developed that other program. Now, if people want to find other programs besides that one, people can write me and ask about character inclusion.
Okay.
Because character inclusion is to get character development throughout our society, in all walks of life, in the media, in the government, in the schools, in the businesses, in the industry.
So how do you see programs like currently there is a life coaching, motivational speakers, all this kind of program, does it help the person to reach the level of his mind?
Everybody is motivated to get better. When I hear a motivational speaker, people get out of the motivational speaker, they got, oh, great. It's like going to a church or something. You feel so much better. But then you go out and you're holy on Sunday and doing something else on Monday. We get to be able to incorporate how we really are in our life. There's the meditation sets up your day. It's like you get this calm lake. You start out your day in this calm lake, and then somebody's going to throw a rock in it because they say something or do something, and it has this ripple go across it. And it calms down very quickly, especially when you focus again. And there's tools to focus. The sad thing, education doesn't teach you what they ask you to do. Have you ever been taught how to concentrate? You've been told to concentrate. You've been told to pay attention, and you ask, well, how much is it? How do I do it? I teach numerous ways. The book, Winning Ways for Living, there's actually 4 books, but just get the last book, because the first and the fourth got on the bestseller list. Second and third didn't, because people said, well, I'm going to buy the fourth instead, because this is so good. And within 3 weeks, posting it on Amazon, and I hate to use a term like that because other groups have a better system for people.
So Winning Ways for Living series, what is the step for people, an individual, to make a living series? Can you conclude that according to your book?
To make what?
Conclude it according to your book, the step that every human being can make for ways for living.
Well, when you read the book, everybody will be attracted toward one or 3 different practices that are there, because there's a Pythagorean practice. Pythagoras was such an incredible wise man before Aristotle, before Plato. He not only had the Pythagoras theorem and everything, and a great mathematician, but he was also a philosopher that people followed all the way through the Middle Ages. It affected the Christian church in the Middle Ages. There's different practices of meditation. There's different practices about eating. When you eat the right food, the right amount of food, and you supplement your diet properly, your endurance and strength goes up 50%, can go up 50%. Your IQ can go up to 20 points higher. So if you're normal IQ, you go up to genius level just with the nutrition. Your mood swings balance. So you're not going to get angry so easily. You'll be more chilled. Why? Because your body is more harmonious. Harmony in life is a key factor. What will bring harmony? Our country here, like I mentioned, puts people in prison more than any other place. We put them in prisons that are horrible. Horrible. A lot of violence in the prisons. We have 80% of the people that go into the prison return to prisons shortly after they leave because they keep doing the same thing. They don't know any better. When I was teaching at Stockholm University, I got to give a program for the Swedish prison wardens and priests.
Mm-hmm.
I taught them how to incorporate meditation into the prison system in 1983. Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, those countries are doing that. They have only 20% people return to prison. Mm-hmm. We have 80% return to prison. They do rehabilitate people. They teach them while they're in prison, not only skills to use out of prison if they don't have skills, but they teach the people to be peaceful inside so that when they get outside, they're peaceful outside. Mm-hmm. It's very, very powerful, these forms of meditation.
So I have a question here. How do we protect our cultural values against the cultural evaluation that is taking place everywhere?
You know, so many countries are getting to be more violent. Mm-hmm. The people get to learn that nonviolence is much more powerful than violence. Unity is the thing that actually allows the change to happen. Unity instead of diversity. Unity and diversity, and seeing the others as your brothers and talking to them like that. My identical twin supports our president here in America. He thinks he's good. Mm-hmm. I talk with him, not at him, and ask him simple questions. He hasn't changed yet, but he can't change unless I appeal to him with not only the intellect, mm-hmm. with the heart, asking questions and taking action. So actions that bring peace are simple, could be just simple little actions. We need massive actions to stop the degradation of our life on the planet, because the Sahara Desert is spreading so fast. I hung out with Wangari Maathai. She was planting seeds and planting trees in
Kenya,
and she was a magical woman. I hung out also a little bit with Madame Sirleaf. I had a meeting with her, Liberian president, both Nobel Prize winners. We get to be able to spread what we can. Think of it. This little villager, Wangari Maathai, ended up being an MP, a member of parliament. She ended up being a Nobel Prize winner. Look at Greta Thunberg, a little girl, a little action that she took. Mm-hmm. When people follow the heart, when people follow the truth, there's so much, there's true fake news out there, but fake news is made to be, everything is going to be fake. Mm-hmm. Everybody's thinking, what news can I believe? I'm going to believe the news that I believe. I know people that are into what's called QAnon. Well, QAnon has some points that open your heart, like slaves or child labor or all these things that they may be bringing up, but they always demonize others. The separation demon is the thing that's killing the planet.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, go ahead.
If the person, like, for example, have a passion of doing something, but it's still that thing he cannot survive on or make a living from that skills, and you also at the same time get judgment from the society. What is this thing bringing to you? Or this is the culture, how we grow up with, like, just thinking about to go to school, get education, and get a job. How people can change this mindset?
Well, that's the thing. You can actually walk your own walk. We don't have to follow our society. Did Buckminster Fuller walk a different path? Yes. All the people that we respect had to walk a different path. But was it easy? No. I'm called an outlier in my own family. I did some different things than my brother did. And that's why I am as I am, because I have this spirit inside me that wants to experience God at all times. I'm basically, if I would, in the Sufi, in Islam, I'm a Sufi. As a Muslim, I'm a Sufi. I want to experience God at all times and serve God. I've done all kinds of jobs. I've cleaned public toilets in India. I've done compost heaps again in India. I've taken care of an elephant again in India. When I was in Australia, I trained the Challenge 12 crew for the America's Cup and a professional team that took second in the grand final in Aussie rules football. But I also at one time had to live in a nice little closet. Was it beneath me to live in a closet, to sleep in a closet? No. I got to do that because it was something that I got to do. And we can keep on progressing and earning the kind of money that we can earn. And if I can't earn money, I'm going to serve others. I'm going to see what I can do. In Africa, we have some tchotchkes, some things that simple people in villages make out of wires. I mean, I can show you
That's amazing background. The one from South
simple
Africa.
thing like this. This is
Wow.
magical. It's awesome. And it takes so much skill. But people do things with their life instead of just sit there and say, oh, I don't have any money. Well, how can you get money? Okay, make something like this or do something. Whatever you can do, do it. But I've seen in poor villages, I lived in a village in India 2 years, 1 year at a time. In this village, I saw more happy people running around this poor village than I do in Los Angeles. Why? Because some people are focused on things rather than life. So always look on the bright side of life and do what you can do. This is what's called a Stoic idea. And I love Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the most famous emperors of Rome. But he lived through a pandemic. He actually died because of it. But he gave most of his money away to help his empire.
So, what are jokes before we go to your experience? Also, you were living in the conflict zone, and then you help people heal and get out of the anxiety and the depression that they have in the war environment.
Okay.
How that experience and what is the practice look like?
The best practice that I've ever seen for people who are traumatized
from war.
I have a friend, again, in Sweden. This man is a great soul. He's very, very much like me. We're like brothers in what we've done. He also is into sports psychology. And I founded 5 offices of the Institute of Sports Psychology. And he's up in Sweden, in Stockholm. And he went down to the Congo and worked with child warriors. Kids who had to kill their own friends. He worked with the people in Rwanda who had the genocide. He worked in these incredibly devastating areas. And it's tapping. I can show you real quickly the round of tapping, but it's better somebody sends me an email through successsystemsinternational.net.
Okay.
And I'll show you real quickly. Just tap here with mainly the 2 fingers here. And you just tap right about there and about 20 times or so. And just breathe. Pay attention to your breath as you do this. And then once you do about that number of taps, then you go up to your forehead and just sort of go like this. And you just caress your forehead and keep on allowing that breath to come in. And I say allowing it because we don't force the breath. We just pay attention to the breath.
Do I have to be inhaling at the same time when I'm doing it?
Yeah, you're going to breathe. I said just pay attention to your breath, not try to breathe. You don't try to breathe, do you? Automatic. Okay, then we do some tapping up here, just on the upper outside of your eye.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that about that same number of times. And then you tap under your eyes.
Okay.
And you take your right hand and tap just under your nose. And
Does it all have to be 2020?
it does. It's not the exact number. It's 21. It's actually better odd numbers.
It depends on.
And then you go to here, but it should be, a decent number, not just tap a few times.
Mm-hmm. So this exercise is for everyone who is living in a conflict,
yes,
or war zone area.
Yes. And then you tap just near under your collarbone.
Okay. Does it have to be done daily, in a daily basis, or
you can do it 10 times a day
10
if you
times a day? Okay.
or more. It depends. It's like when I teach about meditation, you can then you take your arm up like this, or you can do it across here, but you reach your hand over and you tap over here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The right side.
Yeah. And you do that, and then you've done one round.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when people send me a request for traumatic tapping or just tapping, I will send them a nice diagram of all the ways and so on. There's also something called square breathing. And
what does square breathing look like?
Square breathing is breathing in for the count of 4, holding for the count of 4, breathing out for the count of 4,
like
breathing in for the count of 4.
Okay.
Holding for 4, and then breathing in for 4. Now you're holding for 4, you're breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, and then it's a complete 4 cycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that also help with people who have
this? Simple thing there, but again, just pay attention to that breath.
Okay.
Like as if you were warming your hands outside and it's cool.
So the breath have to, continue.
But you don't have to try to breathe. Just pay attention to the movement of your breath.
Okay, I think that needs more.
Breathing, I'll tell you this, most people don't know the power of breathing, but it's important. When I taught yoga and meditation around the world, I've taught it on 5 continents. Breathing, when you breathe in through your nose, it brings the oxygen to the lower lobes of your lungs where most of the air sacs are. When you breathe in through your mouth, it brings it up to the upper part of your chest. Mm-hmm. There's not that many air sacs there. You want it down where the air sacs are to bring the oxygen into your blood. So that's why you breathe in through your nose. You can breathe out through your mouth or out through your nose. It doesn't matter, the out breath. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to breathe out, you can go, like a sigh. A sigh calms you down. A sigh produces oxytocin. Oxytocin is a brain opiate. What's it called? I'm letting it go on my head, but that's okay. Yeah.
So that can be done like 10 times a day for people who are in war and conflict zone. Also, what about, is it helping people who have some chronic disease like asthma, people who have problems with breathing?
If you have asthma or allergies,
okay,
make sure you send me an email saying, I want you to send me the information about asthma and allergies, or asthma or allergies. Mm-hmm. I will send you a PDF. It's a 30-page document. And when you read it, it will tell you exactly what to take and how to take it in the dosage that it says. And when you do it, everybody that I've ever given this to who has followed the dosage has had their asthma and what do you call it, allergies go away. I didn't have to use inhalers, but I was almost actually hospitalized because of bronchial asthma.
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching, I was holding humanity, what's it called? Humanities team programs in the San Fernando Valley. And a man came to that and he found out that I had asthma and allergies. And he said, well, I'm going to send you this. He sent it to me. I took this one product.
Mm-hmm.
One bottle cost me less than $25. For 2.5 years, I had no more asthma or allergies. When I started to get some allergies, I took the product again, and I had no more allergies and asthma. I haven't had to take that product for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to do it for a month
mm-hmm.
because he had used an inhaler every day. But when he did it for that month, which cost him $100 for getting rid of his asthma, who wouldn't want that instead of taking drugs? This is not a drug. It's just a natural supplement. Nature, Mother Nature, is so far superior to so many things. Allopathy is great for broken legs and other things like that. Like I have 4 discs in my back now that is not mine. Well, they're mine now. And also 4 vertebrae fused because I had a back injury.
So how does this kind of how meditation can work with people who have psychological issues like depression, worry, anxiety, depression, and also there is the the other psychotic disease like Alzheimer, people who have
if they have that, tapping is very good also. And depending on them, a particular form of meditation. Some people are more, let's say, mental oriented. Some people are more physical oriented, and so on. When we approach a person with their, let's say, way of living, then they will be able to get into meditation easier. The one technique that I found that is most effective is I have a series on YouTube, and it is about breath work. It's called Your Daily Breath. If you look up my name and Your Daily Breath, you will find a 3-week series. You get those fingers in there if you can see them. It's hard for me to do this. I'm not so used to them. At any rate, a 3-week series on just simple roller coaster fingers. Now, it's called roller coaster fingers because I was teaching teachers in Los Angeles Unified School District. Peak performance practices for academics and sports. It was a salary point class, which means it was like going to college, but I was doing it for the school district. And people were getting upgrades in their salary because they took the class. I teach this one practice, breathing in, breathing out. As you go up, you breathe in. As you go down, you breathe out. Breathing in, breathing out. But you do this, hold your finger up, have your finger against it. So it's your left hand is facing you. Your right forefinger is against the outside of your finger, right here. And as you breathe in, as you breathe out.
Okay.
And breathe in, and it's at your rate of breathing.
Okay.
And you go across the fingers and back at your rate of breathing. And as you go back across them, don't restart, you're going back across them.
Okay.
Yeah. And you stay feeling it because you're feeling your body. It's a kinetic experience. It's a psychological experience. It's your breathing experience. When the breath calms down, the heart rate calms down, then the brain waves calm down. Now, after we do this for a while, when you get on to looking up Your Daily Breath with my name on it, you can find it on YouTube. And it's a 3-week series of simply doing this, but we learn to do even more to get us into a calmer state. And when you do this, mind is calmer. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel better. Away, relax.
And you breathe a lot faster than I do, but you're a lot younger too.
Yeah. Yeah, I also have a lot of issues to deal with, allergy and eczema
Yeah.
for quite a while.
Oh, you should see Dr. Gabriel Cousins. I was married with a Swedish lady for 5 years, and she's a wonderful soul. But she had eczema. She would scratch her neck and other things, parts of her body that had it, and wake me up at night. And she was obviously awake too. It was horrible. But I brought her over here to America because I moved the family over here, and I got her to Dr. Gabriel Cousins. Within a year, she was done with it. And it was all done naturally. Naturally.
Yeah. Need to go through that program. So
Dr. Gabriel Cousins, Cousens, a place down in Patagonia, Arizona, but you can contact him and see what you can do about that. He's got a number of books. He's a great soul. If you look at his credentials, you won't find a doctor with better credentials than him.
Oh, that's great to know about him. So I'm taking you to the Bashma also project.
Actually, you're going a little bit long. I'm going to have to get off the call in about 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, sure. We are just concluding though.
Yeah.
So if you go back to your life, will you be choosing what you are doing today?
Well, say again?
If life took you back, will you be choosing the career that you are doing today, what you are doing today to change others' lives?
And I would let it flow the way it flowed because I learned so much in all the experiences. I had a person who was stabbed in the back just outside my one classroom that I had, and I had to go out and help him. I've had all kinds of incidences. I was at a school and some kids got shot. I got to be able to help all the people that were traumatized by it. But that's because I learned how to be able to do that because of the traumas that I'd had in my being and how effective breathing is and calming the mind down is. So I was able to calm down hundreds of people that saw this shooting at the school.
Thank you, Dr. Kurt. Thank you for your time and the wonderful experience that you have shared with us.
Well, God bless you, and thank you for your work, and if anybody can support you in any way that you can for your future.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will just refer maybe putting your website on the page so that people can reach out to you. Have a good day.
You too. God bless. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you. So I was joined. This was Dr. Kurt Krusen. He's the founder. He's the founder of Success of System International, and also the Institute of Sport and Psychology. So we went through amazing experience of how he have been healing people with meditation, and also work with people in different comfort zones during the war, and they have helped people to heal. So most of the exercise, most of the training and courses are available also in YouTube, and his book on Amazon. It's called The Winning Ways for Living or series. If you are interested more in this kind of shows and discussion, please send me suggestions. Maybe we can do another series also about after the war, how people can get healed after they came out of war zone and conflict. So I'll meet you again in a different show. Different topic. My name is Mary Apollo. I'm the host of For Direction. Bye. Have a good day.